Welcome to Off Your Game, brother Josh. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm a bit of a grumpy old man this week, but other than that, it's been an up and down week, work wise, football wise, transfers wise. So yeah, just taking it day by day.
That's the best way we can do it at the end of the day. So,
Yes,
Josh,
come on.
yeah, that's normally how it goes. Okay. So, Josh, we're gonna have a nice little intro because you just mentioned the transfer story, and obviously it's not that time of the season, and we're gonna have some amazing transfer shows when it's off season. But I think we
Definitely.
can start. We can start talking about this guy, somebody that a lot of
Who's
clubs
that?
are after. And Liverpool, I was busy training a client when I saw a message, a voice note from you, where you out of the blue came up with this Jude Bellingham story that Liverpool has pulled out, and I obviously went to go and have some research, and I actually saw that that's not entirely the case yet, even though Jurgen Klopp is saying in the media that you can't give a 5-year-old a Ferrari. So he clearly feels that this guy is going to be completely overpriced. Your thoughts,
That's
brother?
that's not. Well, he didn't mean it in the sense that. Well, I thought it was more like Bellingham's wages. Giving a 5-year-old Ferrari, but it was more about the fans, basically to the Liverpool fans that you can't expect, you can't get what you can't afford. You can't, if you can't afford something, you can't have it, basically. And that's
Yeah.
basically saying Liverpool can't afford Bellingham. But my whole gripe with it is not they're not getting Bellingham because I never even wanted Bellingham because I knew they couldn't afford Bellingham. So
Yeah.
I've been saying for 2 years now to friends and whoever that I would rather go in for two quality midfielders, two players like Paulinho and McAllister for me. But the thing is, they've been clearly waiting for Bellingham, going after Bellingham. They haven't signed midfielders because of Bellingham. But they obviously must have known that Bellingham was going to be 130, 140 million. It's not a surprise. It's not a shock to anyone. That's what I can't understand. That just screams of either stupidity, incompetence, or they were never after Bellingham. It's all a lie.
So my opinion on this is there is miscommunication at the top or the ownership. The ownership wants to, I don't know if they want to sell the club or want to sell stakes in the club. And when you sell a stake in the club, then there's obviously funds that comes in, which isn't necessarily your own. So let's just think FSG, they want to get sell maybe a 40 odd percent stake. And that prerequisite for that 40 odd percent is we need loads of money to rebuild the squad. So that's part of it. They still want to hold on to Liverpool. It's their cash cow. Same obviously with Man United, Man City, PSG, and these clubs, Arsenal as well. So it could be, this is just now playing devil's advocate. So it could be that FSG does not want to spend until they have gotten people in. So whether that's 200 million, 300 million, etc., etc. I'm talking now about big spending now, okay? And not necessarily just rebuilding. And rebuilding can be looked at 100 million, lots of decent players. That's eventually going to come good. Or in the now, i.e., Bellingham, Palinia, McAllister, all of them for now. I'm not saying Liverpool's going to go for three midfielders. That's probably going to cost 250 million alone. Those three names that I just said.
That's no,
So
that's never going
yeah, that's not going to happen. So just from the outside looking in and looking at things that happens in my club, whereby we obviously are a little bit behind in the sense that we haven't got that quality squad as yet. Doing well this season, leading the league, but you obviously need to round it off with quality players, and most of the time your backup needs to be quality as well, and then it comes
to.
up to the manager to be able to get those backup players to kind of be involved in the system.
Personally, I think that Bellingham, I would look to sign if they don't have the money. Obviously, they do have the money, but they don't want to spend it. Arsenal would be a great project for him and for both sides,
Agreed.
but that can't happen, right?
Yeah, look, with regards to a show that I've done before, my dream signing is Jude Bellingham because he would then kind of be a link between Thomas Partey and Odegaard. So basically, a goal scoring, right footed version I'm not trying to compare him and Xhaka. I'm just saying that Xhaka plays there currently.
Upgrade on Xhaka.
So obviously, an upgrade. Someone that's first of all, he's got that captaincy material, which obviously Jacques has as well. He's the captain of Switzerland. But as a youngster, he's someone that can grow into a leadership role. He can tackle, he can pass, he can score goals. I mean, his skill level, I watch Dortmund very, very often because of him. And the way that he can use both feet in tight situations. There's sometimes three midfielders on him alone. So obviously, there's now space for the other midfielders. I'm referring to Dortmund now. And the only problem is just the consistency of the players around him. So he needs to now be in a top quality team. And I honestly don't know, with all the issues that Real Madrid have. Real Madrid obviously have to sell maybe two key players that's of high value in order to get him, because I don't know where they're going to. They can't have more loans, because normally what they do is they've got a bank that bankrolls them. So they've already loaned over the years to get the likes of Kaká, Ronaldo, and these type of players, which they are still paying back, I'm sure. And I know they're the biggest club in the world commercially, alongside Man United and Barcelona to some extent. So obviously they're always making money, but they still got debts. They still got TV deals to pay off. And remember, their TV deals isn't as good as the Premier League. So basically, what I'm trying to surmise to you is that I don't know how. I know they find ways, but I don't know how they could afford, Jude Bellingham for 140 million, unless Dortmund allows certain things to happen, which they have done in the past with Sancho and those type of things. So it's a tricky one, Josh.
Yeah. The thing with Madrid is they are possibly looking to offload Tuchemeni. Possibly that could bring in 70, 80 million. And then, I don't know, players like Asensio, I don't think they'll be looking to get rid of Valverde, but they have good assets.
If they want to. I just said now, they have to sell players that they deem first team. People are not going to spend 50, 60 million on their bench players. So the
They
likes
could
of
sell
Rodrigo,
Vinny Jr.
Vinny Jr., yeah. Yeah, I think he's probably worth that high amounts, 150 million plus, and there's no team
He's
that's going to
definitely in that range. I think he's definitely at the moment probably the best left-sided winger in the world.
Yeah, I'll reluctantly agree with that. Reluctantly.
Although you might argue Gabby.
The reason why I argue is just the numbers. The numbers are the same. So I know that he's playing for Real Madrid, terrific player, but the numbers are the same. The output.
Martinelli 2 years younger than Vinicius.
3 years.
3 years. So in 3 years' time, if he carries on in this trajectory, he could definitely be at that level or higher, possibly.
Or higher, yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying the numbers are the same. Obviously, Vinicius playing for Real
and surely
Madrid.
The Premier League is a tougher league.
Well, we all like to believe that, judging by the amount of eyes that's on it, the players that's there. But then again, there's an Opta stats thing. I went on their website, and the Premier League only just became the best league. I don't know what they base it on. We're gonna have to do a show about that. So I got some stats off the Opta site, and it showed there that the Premier League only now again took over as the best league. I don't know all the parameters that they use for that, but my thing has always been, it's such a difficult league. Anyone can beat anyone. And then when it comes to Champions League, they are there and thereabouts always. However, the teams that's got lesser leagues, they tend to be able to have that energy to, play in the later stages.
There's that trade-off between having some easier games to allow you to recover and rest in a way, but there's also that trade-off of not having those competitive matches in your legs for when the big Champions League games come.
That does take place, yeah. So it's a very tricky one to always analyze. But then you just see when the lower leagues in those leagues plays, like for example, let's use Sevilla, Man United. Sevilla is like battling at the lower end of the second half of the table, and they were, in the second half, superb against Man United. I know Man United.
We can touch on that a bit later, but United, I think, brought about their own downfall. But just on that point, before we move on, a perfect example on that is PSG. PSG, I think, are hampered by playing in the French league, in the Champions League, because they don't have that competitive
100%.
edge when they play against Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or whatever in the Champions League.
That is the truth, brother Josh. But let's go on to the show.
Now, let me not say any more about Bellingham, because just the fact the idiocy of it is what it's not the fact of not getting Jude Bellingham, it's the fact that they bid 84 million apparently, as if they were going to get Bellingham for 84 million. That's like Suarez 40 million plus one thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, but as I think I replied to your voice note by saying all these big clubs, they always have many bids. It's not just one bid. But
Well,
I don't
clearly
know.
it was just one bid in this instance.
This
because
case,
they pulled out.
Yeah, look, the way I follow transfers, that can't be true because it's so far off the valuation. And Liverpool would have been told, listen, this guy is worth 140 million. So
Maybe Todd Bowley's working for Liverpool on the side. He's doing the transfers. Although he actually gets transfers done, I will say that about him.
Yeah, he does.
Even James Corden.
Yeah. Right. So our show for today, we are going to be discussing, even though it's a week later almost, Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. There's a certain gentleman that in the last couple of years passed away that's synonymous with the scoreline, and he's called Desmond Tutu. So that is the game. We're going to discuss the Premier League, and then we're going to discuss all the European football, and then I'll just run through all my shows that takes place on this channel, as well as Spotify and iTunes. So, Josh, your thoughts on the Liverpool-Arsenal game? The floor is yours. You're the Liverpool fan. Go for it.
It was a interesting game. I mean, I'm actually pleased with Liverpool's performance, especially after the initial onslaught from Arsenal. Arsenal dominated. Everyone's talking about the Xhaka Trent incident as that got the crowd up. Something similar to what happened a couple of seasons back when Arteta got in Jurgen's face, and that changed the game around. Went from 0-0 to 4-0 very quickly. I think that played a part in getting the crowd up. Definitely. I mean, you can't blame Xhaka for that. These things happen in the game. Things happen. It's a passionate sport. But it definitely did get Liverpool players up. They were sort of asleep, like they have been a lot this season in the first half. And they luckily scored just after that. If they got into halftime 2-0 down, I think it was dead. I think the game was dead. But the fact they scored just before halftime, they had another chance, I think, just after that, Henderson, just before halftime. And then, came out in the second half and had one of the best halves of football Liverpool have played this season. I would say, along with the first City game, that was Liverpool's best half of football this season. I'm not counting 9-0. Okay, the 7-0 against United, but United just played dead in the second half.
Yeah, you can't compare because it has to be the quality of the opposition and the performance of the opposition.
And what was on the line for the opposition?
That's also the other thing. Yes, to some extent, when Liverpool went there, Man United went there, they were kind of in what I call a mirrored title race. I call it the ghost title race, the one that doesn't exist. So
only in the supporters' minds.
Yeah, so even Leeds United that won at Liverpool, and that's a completely different type of a game. So you can't really look at that. So I do agree with you. The Liverpool second half performance is equivalent to that second half performance against Arsenal, and then the Man City game for most of that game, that Liverpool beat Man City at Anfield.
That's the Anfield game. Yeah.
Have you got anything more to add on that second half, the domination of Liverpool in terms of chance creation and all that?
Just the fact that Salah missed another penalty, which he, same as Brentford, he missed the goal completely on that left-hand side. Well,
it doesn't make sense how, but it's weird.
Well, some say he runs from wide, which creates a awkward. You can't always time. You're not coming from the same angle every time, which means you're not. I think Danny Murphy spoke about this. He used to take the exact same steps in order to have the exact same conditions of each penalty, where Salah doesn't seem to come from the exact spot, which changes the angle slightly.
Yeah.
But that's obviously a technical thing that I'm sure he works on. Fabinho never missed a penalty at Monaco, so I don't understand why Fabinho's I think he's taken a couple of penalties for Liverpool. I think he scored last season in a 3-1 game, and they shouldn't have had a penalty. It was a very unfortunate penalty. I can't remember who it was against. Could have been West Ham. And he scored. I think Fabinho could easily have taken that penalty, but Salah's obviously the talisman, so you can understand why he would take it. But even after that, Liverpool created a load of chances. I mean, I can remember Salah one-on-one with that volley where he shinned it over the bar. Could have maybe been a penalty if he had gone down with the pulling. Then there was the Konate, which was actually a guilty chance. Brilliant save. But the Salah chance, the Darwin one-on-one. But again, also had a chance in the last minute that they should have scored. I mean, if the pass had been better from Martinelli?
Yeah.
To Saka, could have scored. But those are the when one team is pushing, you are going to have a couple of chances on the break.
Yeah, that's normally how it goes. Yeah, well summed up, Josh. I can't add too much to that because that's basically what took place. From my side, it's obviously constant domination, big thumpings at Anfield. So it's very disappointing from an Arsenal standpoint to be 2-0 up, not kill off the game. And in whichever way you look at it, allow Liverpool, whether it's from a crowd standpoint or from a actual playing standpoint. And then obviously you can't be so deep when you in the second half, especially when Arsenal are the best team in the league between minute 45 and 60. So
what are your thoughts on Arteta's tactics and substitutions in the second half?
Yeah, I thought it was way too late. Clearly, Zinchenko was struggling a bit. Obviously, Jesus hasn't got that high, intense work rate up, or he's not up to speed when it comes to a high, intense game, i.e., City, Man United, Liverpool, where you need to be at a certain intensity throughout the game. So, because he pushes in terms of his pressing game, which was fantastic in the first half. Same for Martinelli. Saka's pressing game, not his performance necessarily. And then obviously the yellow cards, specifically Ben White. He didn't have a good second half, and it's got to do with the yellow card as well. Obviously, Liverpool are there. They are a exceptional team. Whatever form they're in, let's take away form. Let's talk about the actual team and the way Arsenal's been struggling over the years to cope with him. So your best the best side of Arsenal is generally their right side, which is Ben White and Saka. So obviously Liverpool found ways to neutralize that. So it was most of the time it was Jota and Robertson. So they found ways to neutralize him, whether that's got to do with a yellow card and whether that's got to do with Ben White having to just be a little bit careful for Holding as well, who hasn't got pace and is not our starting right centre back. So those type of things tactically was a problem. There's not much Arteta could have done. He's had his first team midfield three. And I honestly thought, and I've said it in podcasts before, that Arsenal would dominate that part. I wouldn't say they dominated it in the first half, but they got control of it in the first half. That's why they were controlling the game for the first 30 minutes. And when the midfield three does well, then obviously Xhaka and Zinchenko, they tend to use certain spaces. So now you've got Alexander-Arnold and you've got Salah, which technically hasn't been that strong this season. So we were hoping, and I think that's why we got the foothold of the game in the first 30 minutes. We were hoping that we were able to maintain that. I don't know why. I've really watched the game. I don't know why it is that Arsenal couldn't continue their form on both sides, and how did Liverpool improve on their current form on left and right hand sides, and how were they better?
I saw the trend coming into playing in a more midfield, a double pivot role in the second half.
Yeah. So clearly that is tactics and excellent tactics from Jurgen Klopp based on what he saw in the game. What he saw in that first 30 minutes, why were Arsenal, as dominant as they were? And when things changed for Liverpool in the first half, Jurgen Klopp used that. So tactically, excellent stuff from Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, I can't stop laughing at when he smiles and the white teeth comes out. It's the funniest thing on earth.
The funniest smile of Jurgen is the bemused smile where he doesn't know what to do, like after the second goal.
I've noticed that face before. But Josh, just quickly, because we probably almost halfway through the show and a lot to talk about, can I just ask your opinion I've already said it on all my platforms. How does this result affect the title race? Both of us said, I know you ended up saying
Massive.
Liverpool win after the dream, but we both felt that this would be a draw, and it is a draw. What's your thoughts on the effect of the
Well,
title
it
race?
affects the title race massively because personally, I said to you last week, and I still maintain it. Unfortunately, I would prefer Arsenal to win the league, if I'm honest.
Mm.
But unfortunately, I think City are going to win every game in the league until the end of the season, which will win them the league, in my opinion.
Yeah. So okay, we will get to the City games now. So I don't want to rumble
Preempt
on
that.
that now. So because we're literally going to get to that shortly. So yeah. So just in my opinion, I agree with everything you said on that. City, I've said in my podcast, they are robotic and they have a robotic striker. So robotic in the sense that it's going to be very difficult to stop them, especially the form they're in. We will also get to their Bayern Munich game shortly. So I'm just going to quickly run through the slides quickly. So there we go. So in Josh's voice note, he had a 3 point something XG for Liverpool.
3.96. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, and then four different sites has it 4.6, 4.2, 4.0, and 3.5. So yeah, would you believe? And then
Which
just
is
some
which is a big difference. That's a 3 goal difference.
exactly. So here's just some of the stats. Obviously, Arsenal scoring the first two goals of the game. Liverpool missing a penalty in the second half. Quite a lot of yellow cards. A very robust game. It's teams that actually they don't dislike each other. They just obviously went for it at all times. So there's actually quite a bit of respect between Liverpool and Arsenal. So it's quite strange all these yellow cards. And then obviously Liverpool dominating the second half and scoring two goals. Salah and Firmino yet again scoring. Firmino made it 2-2 at the Emirates, and
Bobby
Firmino
loves
made it
Arsenal.
2-2. He loves Arsenal, big Arsenal fan clearly. And then there's just some stats, the key stats, and I'm just gonna. And again, this thing isn't opening, probably to do with the Liverpool thingy. Yeah, I wanted
Liverpool
to.
virus.
Yeah, yeah, but
Liverpool
anyway,
virus.
the virus. Right, brother Josh, let's go on to our next topic, the Premier League, the Barclays. It's not Barclays anymore, it's just the FA Premier League. So there we go. That's
Barkley's
the
Barkley's pulled out just like Liverpool.
pulling. It's like pulling out of a challenge. Right, let's just quickly move on to this. So yeah, so this is what I wanted to get to, Josh. My hope for Arsenal, and to a large extent, I agree with you with City's on that form now, where it just looks like they're gonna. You've seen it before with the Liverpool Man City battles, where they just keep on winning. Even Liverpool kept on winning, 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 and it just didn't matter because there was. Some games, obviously, in the past, the Everton game away, where there was a little bit of white envelopes that change hands between the referee and the Man City owners. But yeah, it's you have to
Let,
really.
let's let's not beat around the bush. Let's not City bought the league.
There
Um,
we go. As simple as
Simple as that.
simple as that.
Uh, on that slide you just put up, I can
Hmm.
see City losing the league thanks to Super Frankie Lampard. Super Frankie Lampard.
There we go. Yeah. So
Not
Josh,
really. No, I don't actually think that.
yeah, yeah. My only thing is, and this is now where my hope comes in. City playing every 4 or 3 days. The only time where they have a longer than 4 day, they don't. There isn't a single longer than 4 day period between games for City, and it's not as if there's a lot of easy games in those things. You've got the situation of teams fighting for their lives. You've got the big European teams. You've got Arsenal that's desperate to win their first league title in almost 2 decades. You've got the likes of Fulham that can play good football at home. You've got West Ham fighting for their lives, Leeds fighting for their lives. They are playing Everton away after going to the Bernabeu. We assuming that Chelsea and Bayern won't come back. So they've got on Tuesday the 9th or Wednesday the 10th, they've got 2 days or 3 days after playing Leeds. They have to play on that Tuesday or Wednesday. They can't make it a Thursday game. So they have to play Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. So I think if Arsenal's going to win the league, first of all, they need to try and get something at the Etihad. And then this is going to be the key period, the 9th till the 20th.
The
Those
thing, the
11.
thing,
Yeah.
just looking at that, I see they've got Bayern and Chef. Is it Sheffield United in the
Yes, in
FA
the FA
Cup
Cup. Yeah, so they haven't got
before
that
the
bright.
Arsenal game. Those are the 2 games before the Arsenal game.
Yeah,
Definitely the Sheffield United game. They're gonna pick a second string team. I
rotate.
think they'll be able to easily
Yeah,
beat
100.
Sheffield United with second string team. They can even rest players in the Bayern game. I mean, they'll play obviously a strong team, but
Yeah.
they can definitely rotate. What do you think? I think
No, I
Arsenal
agree.
will
I
have to
agree
get a
entirely.
result at the Etihad. If Arsenal want to win this league, they're going to have to get at least a
Something.
draw at the Etihad.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. I agree 100% with that. Even though I predicted that Arsenal will get 1 point out of the Liverpool City games, and then my hope is that the point that I'm trying to bring up, my point that I'm bringing up is Arsenal haven't beaten Man City that side. Arsenal struggle up north. They've got
12
1 point up
games
north.
in a row they've lost to City, isn't it?
So, exactly, and it's not been close. It's been thumpings. So I
Apart
now
from the
need to
2-1
find.
game where they were robbed last season.
Yeah, yeah, last season. But yeah, at the end of the day, you have to look at other factors now, which needs to get us this league title at the Emirates. The amount of days
Tony
between games,
Kroos.
the possibilities of uh, injuries because you're playing all these games every 3 days, muscle injuries which could keep you out for two games because it's so short the time span. So I'm hoping that the Real Madrid, Everton, Real Madrid, Chelsea period is going to be too tough for City to handle, even if they win all the other games, including Arsenal. So your thoughts on my point that I'm trying to prove to you here, in the sense that so many games, you got no more than 4 days left. You can't play every single player because their system needs certain players to play all the time. They can't just make 11 changes.
No, but the thing is, they've gotten that big lead against Bayern. So they can definitely. I mean, they could even play Calvin Phillips,
Mm.
maybe. It's 50 million on a player and he's played 11 minutes. Crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just looking at Arsenal fixtures more than the City fixtures now. Would you say that other than obviously the City game and the Newcastle at St James's game, are you comfortable with winning the other games?
Form, yes, but you know that when it's City are always playing first, they maybe won their game. That could be a problem, especially in the last couple of games. I've got no doubt that it's not going to be to do with fatigue. I think mental fatigue possibly yes, but in terms of physical, in terms of being able to keep the team fit, there's so many days between games. There's 5 days, 5 days, 5 days, 6 days, 5 days, 7 days, 6 days, 8 days. So that's quite a nice period of time. I know some teams like to play every 3 days. That's also another thing. Maybe City are one of those, so that you can build momentum that way. But I
That's
just think for
always
the
the argument, yeah.
argument here. So, in my opinion, for Arsenal, the way they are, they need a bit of time out in the week and also time on the training ground rather than match days because of the fact that we are clicking as
Young
a team
players as well.
and young players. Yeah. So,
Quick question for you. Just regarding that City game at the Etihad, what tactics would you go in? Would you play your normal? Would you go in and take them on toe to toe, or would you play a more low block formation like Arsene Wenger did a few seasons back when he beat City 2-0, I
yeah,
think?
the point is what I say because Teta's going to go for it. Teta's going to go for it. He's going to want to, just due
But
to the
if you
fact that
were the Arsenal manager,
if no, I would do the same as Arteta because they play similar football. Just tweak things here and there based on the two games that's taken place. The game at
would you
the
play Zinchenko or Tierney?
no, Zinchenko. I'll definitely play Zinchenko. No, I'll definitely. I'll keep the same team that played against Liverpool. Obviously, hopefully Saliba's back, and then that changes the way we play out from the back. The way Ben White and Saka is able to combine, because you can now play quite high up the pitch, which is dangerous because that's what we did at the Emirates. But you need to get it right. That's also the other thing. So the remember the passing. How are City going to press us? That's and how are we going to press them? That is going to basically be so the game is going to be confined to these spaces because this is their defenders and everybody else is here on the field. So there's going to be lots of spaces on all four parts of the field because you've got inverted players. So there's so many players coming into midfield when they have the ball, and then you want these guys to start pressing. I'm referring to both sets of forwards. To a
City seems to
very
be playing a 3-3-3-1 formation at
one
the moment.
formation, yeah. So Arsenal also does that. It's just that it breaks up into the four when they don't have the ball. When they do have the ball, then it goes into that three. So it's quite similar to City with the way they're using Stones. So they're using Stones very similar to how Arsenal use Ben White in and out of position in terms of their positioning.
Poor man
But
Johnson.
yeah. But yeah, we'll have a look at this again. I just want to quickly get on to the next slide. So, Josh, we've got Newcastle and Man United on the same amount of points. Newcastle are in the next 23 minutes kicking off at Villa Park. They're playing New Aston Villa at Villa Park.
Tough game.
Good evening, brother Josh. Do you think
Good evening.
Newcastle? Do you think Newcastle and Man United are winning this weekend?
I think United will win, even though it's going to be tough because, as we saw, the two central defenders are out. Rashford's obviously out.
But Martial was fantastic.
I'm a huge Tony Martial fan. Just unfortunate that he can't stay fit, but he is a class player. Really, one of the best nines in the league when he's fit.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then if we look at Spurs and Liverpool, Spurs playing at 4 against Bournemouth.
Liverpool going to have to go and to have any chance of top 4, Liverpool going to have to win all the games. That's my opinion. They're going to have to win all the games. So they've got nine games to go, 27 points. That will put them on 71. That'll give them a chance. No less than that will give them a chance.
100%. It's a pity they're not playing United again. Oh, my word. Do you think Aston Villa has any chance to be in Europe? Not top 4, in Europe.
So, in other words, top 7?
Top 7, just based on their fixtures. They've obviously got Liverpool, they've got Tottenham, they've got Man United, Newcastle today, and they've got Brighton at home. So those are tough games. Fulham is difficult, Brentford is difficult.
They've got a chance. They've definitely got a chance, but...
No, I don't think so. So I've just read out those names now. They're going to lose all those games.
Brighton also have some tough fixtures. They've got City, they've got Chelsea, they've got United, they've got Arsenal, Villa away, Newcastle away. That looks daunting. I think Villa could finish 7th. It's possible.
Okay. That's basically what we're getting to, yeah.
Or even ahead of Liverpool for 6th. It's possible.
No chance.
You're more confident than me.
Yeah. No, I'm assuming Liverpool will.
So you still think United now that with injuries and Newcastle will finish 3rd and 4th?
Just the fixtures, yes. With the fixtures, yes, but I'm hoping Liverpool squeezes United out there. That's my hope.
We can only hope. Live in hope. Spurs?
Mm-mm. Okay, Son's got a bit of form, but again, Brighton played them off the park. They were robbed. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be, it might be tight.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. So, on this slide, we've got the battle for the relegation zone. Opta, they obviously have been changing, as you can see. The percentage of the teams being relegated seems to change every week, and that's obviously with the fact that the games it's so tight at the top.
That's my gripe with these type of statistics. Like, in the games you get that percentage win, percentage draw, percentage.
At that time,
it's so contrived. It's like with cricket as well. It's so one wicket and it changes, one goal and it completely changes.
Exactly.
A load of, to quote.
Yeah, to quote
Bruce.
Oh, Brucey boy, he's also there. So Crystal Palace, Wolves, West Ham, Bournemouth. First 4 names. Is there anyone that's going down from the first 4 names that you can see?
The top 4, you mean?
Yeah, the top 4 names. List. Yeah, I think you said Bournemouth.
I think Wolves and West Ham will set up.
Okay.
I still think Bournemouth and Leeds are definitely in a battle. I think Everton. I still think Everton will hang on. They just manage to stay up. And Sean Dyche is experienced in relegation battles, so I think they'll stay up. So personally, I think it's between The bottom three, Leeds
Mhm.
and Bournemouth.
Okay.
Just that's my feeling.
Five, those five there. Yeah, I'm similar. I've got a similar feeling on that. So hopefully, come on, you foxes. Tomorrow evening, Leicester City at the Etihad. Come on, you
Wow.
foxes.
The thing is, they have no form. I mean, who's taking them? Craig Shakespeare. To be or not to be, as they say.
Yeah. Could that be double digit scores? First double digit score for quite some time? 10, 10?
Haaland's to score 7.
Yeah. If he plays, maybe they're going to put him on the bench and he scores
He
only has
doesn't
enough
seem. They
time.
don't ever seem. Pep doesn't seem to rest Haaland. Haaland
Yeah.
plays when he's fit, even
Yeah, he
against
plays.
Burnley, and he just plays.
He plays, yeah, no, fair enough. Josh, are you ready to go to Europe?
It's not like he runs around or anything.
Yeah. And it's
Europe,
time for
Europe.
Europe review. The Jamie Carragher voice. Josh,
What
your
is your
thoughts
opinion on
on?
the City? I want to hear your opinion now on the City Bayern game. Speak to me.
Yeah, so I thought Bayern Munich were tactically excellent in parts of the game. So
I
obviously
thought
they've
they
got.
played well.
I thought they played well as well. It was tactically excellent. Once again, Tuchel doing the business against. I know it ended up being 3-0, and City played amazing football at times. But this centre back guy that I just cannot stand, Dayot Upamecano. Every time I watch this guy's like
Oh,
rated
that
100.
was one of the worst games I've seen by an individual.
Yeah, so he regularly has those games in him. And I don't know why this guy is so highly rated. He was absolutely abysmal. 3
The
0 to
French,
Man.
the French Dejan Lovren.
Yeah, French Asian Lovren. Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought he was so bad in his decision making. He made the lift look like a Ponzi scheme artist. And then you've got the situation of the UFC fighters up front, Mane and Sane. I don't know if it's a fight because the one's name sounds like the other or what, but
Somebody said that Mane was supposed to start, but Sane went on the board before the game and rubbed out the M and put an S.
I actually would have loved to have seen the punch because apparently they said it barely hit him. So because he was dodging, they were like trying to fight and he was like dodging from the one side to the other.
And as I
But
said to
yeah,
you, 5 years or 4 years at Liverpool with Salah and he didn't punch you once,
and he
so
didn't
Sane
punch him
must be
once.
the problem.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So once again, just from a tactical
Maybe he was
standpoint,
hungry.
yeah, from a tactical standpoint, yeah, Bayern Munich they had some chances. Sané, Gnabry had a couple of chances. Kimmich had a good game at times, but then Man
Yeah,
City they
Kimmich
were
played well.
the Man City was just too powerful, and they obviously had other chances to win even further. So
Oh,
well
Bayern
deserved
missing
win for City.
Lewandowski.
They're definitely missing him. They haven't got a focal point, even though Choupo-Moting has actually been scoring regularly. He hasn't been playing well, but he's been scoring regularly for them. But he's been injured, unfortunately.
Can I have 2 words for you? And I have to bring his name into the conversation. We haven't mentioned his name yet. Harry Kane.
Yeah. Where will he go next season if he leaves that?
I think Harry Kane would be a brilliant signing for Bayern.
Yeah, no, there has been rumors, but Bayern has a certain price structure that they stay within. So they're not going to pay 150 million plus for a player.
And Daniel Levy wants show me the money, he says.
Show me the money. Josh, your thoughts on the bottom two before we get to Real Madrid Chelsea?
Well, I did predict Benfica to beat Inter, so I was clearly wrong there. Didn't watch the game, but they've lost. So did you watch? Obviously, you watched some of the game.
I watched. Yeah, the only games I watched highlights of was the Benfica game, but furthermore, I watched the full other 3 games. Inter Milan, they were fantastic.
Speak on the Milan game.
Hey?
Speak to me on the Milan game.
Inter Milan or AC Milan?
AC. Inter. I say Inter as Inter and Milan as Milan.
Yeah. So both you and I made a prediction on either show 1 or 2. I think it must have been show 1 that Napoli will win the Champions League. And yeah, so what did Napoli go and do in the league? They lost like 4-0 to AC Milan.
To Milan.
Yeah, they lost to Milan in their league 4-0 2 weeks ago. Like literally a couple of days after we made that prediction.
They've obviously peaked.
that seems like they've peaked. Yeah, Osimhen has been injured for the last 3 weeks, so their focal point isn't there, and they
Will he be
very
fit
well.
for the second leg?
He should be fit for the second leg. I think he will play this weekend in the league, so he should be fit for the second leg. I'm still tipping Napoli to overpower AC Milan. AC Milan, they quite defensively solid at times. So in the Champions League mostly, they've been struggling defensively in the league, but against Tottenham and against were they in Liverpool's group? AC Milan.
No, Napoli were.
Oh, Napoli were sorry, yeah. So
Last
yeah, and
season they were in Liverpool's group.
yeah. So Napoli, they're quite open. They've got a very good defender, Kim Min Jae, the South Korean defender. But
Yeah,
they
it's good.
generally play quite an open style of football, and then they obviously have Tottenham's Ndombele on the bench that comes on and he does a little
Yeah,
bit of salt.
he's a good player for like 5 minutes, 6 minutes. That's his fitness.
Yeah, so just on these results, the teams that won, I'm only expecting AC Milan not to go through from the winners of this round of
Well,
games.
and your thoughts on the quickly on the Madrid Chelsea?
Yeah, I thought
Expected.
Chelsea they showed their fighting capabilities in this game. They were obviously technically they were good, tactically they were okay. But obviously, Real Madrid, they've got that. They've got moments players. And once again, Vinicius or Vincenzus, as some people like to call him, he was. He gave them problems, obviously. But I thought the back three was quite good. They were quite solid. And then, obviously, unfortunately, Benjamin Chilwell. Once again, it was those moments that Real Madrid has when they quickly get a couple of passes together. They got the player free. I can't remember who it was. And then a rugby tackle from Ben Chilwell, and then he got a red card. So I thought Chelsea did well
Not
conceding
the
the goal.
best rugby tackle, but
No, that was a terrible rugby tackle, but it wasn't a bad performance from Chelsea. I think they did actually really well, especially after going down to 10 men. And I think Mason Mount had a very big chance as well in the game.
brilliantly cleared off the line. Well, basically off the line by Tony
That's
Rudiger.
right. Rudiger
Ex-Chelsea.
against his former team. So do you agree with that? That only Napoli will go through from the teams that lost, or do you have something else to add?
I agree that City, Real Madrid, and Inter will go through. I think the Napoli-Milan game is 50-50. I would give actually, due to Champions League heritage, I'm going to say that AC Milan get through and we have a San Siro derby, a Milan derby for the semi-final.
That's absolutely remarkable. Anyway,
Remarkable
it's good for
well, there will probably be two Italian teams in the semi-final, which is remarkable.
Yeah, there will be. It's remarkable. I watch the league week in, week out, and they tactically quite good. Defensively, it's been poor in the last couple of years. So it's a strange one in terms of there were times when they had better players in each team. Juventus was strong. We will get to Juventus shortly. So it's weird for me that watches the league that they are this far in the Champions League, Europa League they're doing well, and in the Conference League the teams are doing well. So uptake in the Italian teams, brother Josh.
Plus luck of the draw as well.
That's also another thing. There's definitely been a very, very weak second side of the draw. Josh, I don't know if you've watched any of the games. Have you got any thoughts on first the Europa League?
I only watched this last 15 minutes of the United games. I put it on at 2-0 to United with 15 minutes to go. And I was pleasantly surprised by the last 15, 20 minutes. Interesting. Bad luck for Martin. He's never liked to see a player get injured.
So he's out. He's out.
And Bruno's missing second leg due to his yellow card.
Yellow card, yeah.
Plus, obviously, Rashford. So they're going to have... It's going to be an uphill battle for them in Seville.
Yeah, gee whiz. Feyenoord, watch the 20-minute highlights of that. Roma were awful, but had probably 3 good chances to score. Feyenoord were profligate in front of goal.
Man like Jose.
Man United Sevilla, watched most of the game. I recorded it and ran through it because of load shedding and having to watch the Juventus game as well. So I ran through both games. I recorded the full games and had to fast forward through most of it due to load shedding. But once again, Sevilla had a couple of chances. United completely in control in the first half, should have had more. And then obviously Sevilla could even have snatched victory because in the last 20 minutes they had quite a few chances other than that
They
goal.
made a brilliant save in the last couple of
That's
minutes.
correct. Yes, he did make a brilliant save. Juventus Sporting, similar performance that they did against Arsenal. They were very good. It's just they didn't score. Juventus could have conceded a couple of goals. I thought Sporting probably deserved at least a draw out of that game. And then the Leverkusen Union game I didn't watch at all. Uh, so there's that. And then just quickly on my side, I'm assuming you watched nothing of the Conference League. I apologize if you did.
No, nothing.
Okay, the only one that stands out there is
Yes.
yeah, no,
West
the only
Ham.
one that stands out is West Ham. I had to watch them because they're Arsenal's next opponents. They conceded loads of chances. Once again, very negative, but they got the result they wanted, which was a draw, a score draw.
Do you think that the fact that West Ham have gotten to this stage of the Conference League has affected their Premier League season?
No, not at all. They've got quite a big squad, and the squad seems to be able to do quite well in Europe. They've been dominant in most of their games in Europe. I tend to watch all the highlights of their game. So they generally dominant. They do obviously bring some parts of their league form where they are defensively naive at times, just due to the fact that they are a defensive team. But yeah, I think they can go quite far. They would struggle against Fiorentina. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't studied the draw. So I'm not sure if they're playing Fiorentina next because obviously Fiorentina are through, Anderlecht are through, and then it's 50-50 again with a Basel Nice game. But I do think West Ham will win comfortably at home. Ghent, they're very profligate in front of goal. They basically got lots of exciting young players, but they're not good in front of goal. So I do expect West Ham. I think West Ham are playing Fiorentina next. I think I heard that somewhere. So they would then play Fiorentina next. So we'll see how that goes. Have you got any closing thoughts, Brother Josh?
No, not really. Not on the Europa League. I mean, not on the Conference League. The Europa League, it should be interesting. Before you get onto your shows, who's your tip for United, Sevilla? Do you think they'll get through United?
I'm going to go with Sevilla to go through just based on the injuries. If Rashford is back, then counter-attacking goals. But if he's not back, which he might actually be back, then I'm going to go with Sevilla. I think they're very strong at home and they showed quite a bit, despite struggling in La Liga, they showed quite a bit in that second half that tells me that at home, it's a very difficult place to go to, the Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium. So I think
Plus,
we could miss the Pogba reunion.
plus the 12-10. They got 12 players if Maguire plays and United have 10.
Good point. So, Josh, we're going to end off the show with me promoting my upcoming shows. On a Friday afternoon, I post the Gunning Truth podcast. So it's a weekly show. Liverpool Arsenal was the 40th show that I've been recording. I've been recording since pre-season at the beginning of the season. So 40 episodes strong. And then this show, the Off Your Game show on YouTube, we record it on a Saturday. So that's why sometimes the news can be old because there's a lot of games on a Saturday. But we try to keep it as close to the times as possible. We try to review the games and give some predictions. So, yeah, on a Sunday, I post that. On a Monday afternoon, I have my reaction video. So there's no Arsenal women or Arsenal under 18 or under 21 news to
What a shame.
what a shame. So on Monday afternoon, I'll be reacting to the West Ham game. And then on a Wednesday afternoon, I post my Tuesday show, The Gunning Truth. Hopefully, holding thumbs. Load shedding allows my buddies to come on because there's been a lot of problems with regards to load shedding and me getting people on
Don't
to join.
Eskom know that you have a podcast on Tuesday.
It's absolutely remarkable. It's remarkable how they keep on forgetting to not put off the load shedding, but that is what it is. Brother Josh, I look forward to us speaking next week again. Have a lovely, lovely week further.
You too. You too. It was a pleasure as always. Go well.
Cheers, Brother Josh.